I blew up at my wife's mistakes. Now she's not talking to me. My wife, 30 female, and I, 35 male, bought our house 5 years ago, and it needs work, but time and money are always a constraint. Right now, my wife is not working while she goes back to school, and I'm working second shift as the sole earner. By the way, this comes from user CommunicationFit257, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/okstorytime subreddit. And OP says, since my wife is home more than me, she has been handling most of the work that's been done around the house, including dealing with contractors. She comes from a family of DIYers who tend to shoot from the hip with projects, while I prefer to have a plan in place before we do any work. And the most recent projects that she's spearheaded have been, in my opinion, subpar. Some examples. Our privacy fence gate doesn't close right, and she hasn't gotten the contractor to come to fix it for months. The internet line wasn't buried deeply enough by the contractors, and I think she should have sent them away when they didn't have the right equipment. She decided, without my input, to use a cleanser on our house before restaining it, and the cleanser left streaks in the wood that cannot be covered by the stain. We have a wooden sculpture in our yard that she did not clean, and it is dark and dirty and looks like crap. She doesn't see anything wrong with it. It's just a difference in opinion.
Yeah.
Most recently, we had gutter work done, and I wanted a gutter put on the back of our new shed. She forgot to tell the contractor where I wanted the downspout, and he put it on the opposite corner, so now the water is just going to collect behind the shed, which is exactly what I wanted to avoid. She called me at work to give me this news, and I spent the rest of the day frustrated. When I got home, I asked what we were going to do about this, and she said something about fixing it ourselves. I told her that it would never be right if we fixed it ourselves, defeatist attitude, and that I already paid for the work to be done right the first time, and we're just pissing away money and time with needing to redo all these projects that she's been half bootying. I asked if she even cared about the quality of work that's being done on the house, and said that maybe she shouldn't be involved with any more projects on the house unless communication improves. She just sat in silence and slept on the couch without speaking to me. This morning, I asked if she was going to talk to me, and she said, quote, I don't know. I was exasperated and asked if she could just tell me what is wrong, and she replied, quote, I'm scared of you.
What?
Well, did you scream and yell at her?
Yeah.
Are you leaving that part out? Because if you screamed and yelled, it could be pretty scary.
For sure.
She told me she wished I had approached the issue by looking for a solution, and I told her that she just doesn't want to be accountable for her actions. She said she just wants us, quote, to be partners. I could be the a-hole for how I went about telling her about my feelings, but I feel like there's no way for me to give her negative feedback without her freaking out. Am I the a-hole for telling my wife that she needs to be accountable for her actions? And the official verdict was a-hole. And we have some comments. But, yeah, I think, buddy, you can't yell at your wife.
Nope.
First of all.
Yep.
Don't be yelling at your wife.
Yep.
Don't even be yelling about stuff that your wife has done in the presence of your wife. Even if you're yelling over here and she's over there, don't be yelling about stuff your wife has done.
Yep.
If she's been messing up every project, why is she still spearheading it? I know you're at work. Did you know contractors have email addresses? You can say, hey, I want the gutter done like this on this part of the shed.
Yeah.
Now it's in writing.
Yeah, exactly. I think, you could definitely voice your frustration and just be like, I really, hoped that you would see this ahead of time. I really, or if they did talk about that problem, wanting to avoid that, then, I really hoped that, what we said made sense and that you, watched out for that a little bit more. But it's already done. So we're gonna fix the solution now. You can't just be like, oh yeah, well now we can't fix it because it's not gonna be done right, and now we're gonna just be pissing away money, and I'm just mad about it.
It's like you can fix it, bro. You can get on YouTube and Google gutter exactly what you need to find out and immediately figure out how to do it.
Sucks that it happened, but yes, you can talk about the problem normally, and hopefully not yell. But I wonder if we'll get more context.
Which I'm sure we're gonna get some more info here. Let's dig into these comments. From David A. Nida. Info. Did you calmly tell her maybe she shouldn't be involved in any more projects, as you've written, or were you more forceful? I've seen women feign fear to keep men from holding them to task, but it feels like something is missing here. OP says, I told her that we had 3 options: stopping all projects, her not being involved in any projects, or we get better at communicating. Obviously, the last option is my preference. I notice how you did not answer the question that was asked.
You really didn't at all.
Another user, Willow X Ash, says, based on your own words, you responded in an accusatory tone. I told her that she just doesn't want to be accountable for her actions, right after she admitted she was scared of you. I highly doubt this is her feigning fear, as a different user speculated. After being barraged the night before, your wife gave constructive criticism on how she would prefer to discuss sensitive topics in the future in a more partner-focused, kind, and solution-based way. You breached this entire subject with frustration and accused her of carelessness and pissing away money, seemingly without bringing up a communication issue or less drastic solutions at all. Instead, you jumped straight to suggesting that she should be removed from all projects. With this kind of angry and accusatory reaction, it's not at all crazy to think she would be silent and afraid of you. Seems like it was just a way for you to blow off steam and shame her. Her request for you to communicate in a kind and constructive way is not ridiculous in the slightest, just as much as it's not ridiculous to want things in your house to be done well or for her to communicate better. But words do matter, and how you wield them has consequences. Just remember what your true priority is here. Is it the project, or is it having a loving partnership with your wife? After you decide on these priorities, then you can work together on how to deal with the house projects, or not work together at all. User third try is the charm says, she replied, I'm scared of you, and that should scare you. There is no reason your reaction should be so outsized that it's making your adult partner afraid. All of these projects are things that are not emergencies. They are things that if they go wrong, it sucks, but it's fixable. Maybe not on the time frame you wanted, but it's still fixable. The way your wife is feeling may damage your relationship in a way that is not fixable. You are the a-hole. Change the Focus says, you're the a-hole. OP, you want to call all the shots while having her do all the work. In your mind, it's her job to silently and smoothly assure that everything ends up as you wanted it. It's as if you were the boss and she were your assistant, whose job it is to carry out your wishes. If she fails at getting your way for you, you feel entitled to accuse her of half-bootying and pissing away money and all kinds of other things, blaming and shaming out frustration that she didn't fulfill your wishes correctly. She isn't the one with the communication problem. Boom! I was about to say that.
Yeah.
Because it's true, buddy. If she's telling the contractor stuff, you're not properly explaining to her what you want to be done.
Right.
In a clear enough way, then. You got to take the responsibility upon yourself if you're going to be the leader in the situation.
Yeah.
You know?
Exactly.
She would like to have a civil discussion and approach problems as partners, while you would rather accuse that she just doesn't want to be accountable for her actions. That being the case, unless communication improves, is entirely on you. I absolutely do believe that she is scared of you. You drip with superiority. You think you're better than your wife and entitled to tell her what to do and to judge how well she carries the instructions out, and that is a huge red flag. I hope you two don't have kids. Another comment, Diligent Employee 5001 says, you're the a-hole. If you have a specific way you want something done, then you handle the contractors. Phones work great for this. Exactly. Phone call, text message, email. It sounds like your wife is nervous about doing anything or not doing anything because you managed to criticize her regardless. I bet you managed to make her feel stupid just for asking. Honestly, you sound like a knucklehead. Deleted user says, you're the a-hole. I live with a guy like you who blew up for nothing, with the results of being stepping on eggs around him. Nothing you say here is end of the world and needs to fix right now. Plus, is it her fault the contractor you picked did a subpar job? She's not an expert on everything, and by the way, neither are you. Choose better contractors if they're so bad. Let me guess, the price was right. There's an update from 4 months and 3 weeks later.
Oh boy. 4 months. I want to know what's going to happen.
I think she leaves.
Yeah.
I think.
Hopefully.
I think she leaves.
I have a feeling he did not take those comments well.
So, a lot of people recognized that the way I spoke with my wife was full of frustration and anger, which was unproductive, but even more than that, it was scary to my wife. Willow X Ash had an excellent comment pointing out that I was just blowing off steam and that my priority should be my partnership. We covered a lot of topics in the weeks following that incident. We had a couples therapy session to talk about strategies and communication. I saw one of my coworkers react in anger and frustration instead of taking the time to become calm, and realized from the outside looking in just how unproductive his behavior was. And then my wife showed me a section of one of our self-help books. It's called The 5 Personality Patterns, and my therapist had recommended it to me a while back. We had been reading it together, my wife and I, but then we got busy and we stopped. She picked it back up after our fight and read about the leaving pattern. She underlined a bunch of sections and read them to me, and I finally understood. I grew up in a house where my parents screamed and yelled at each other or picked fights in order to storm out of the house, and that's how I used to interpret my wife's silence as a way to quote-unquote win the fight. In reality, when she became silent, she was terrified. She wasn't stonewalling me or trying to win the fight by manipulating me or trying to avoid taking responsibility. She was scared in that moment, and she wasn't even in her body. She couldn't even speak. She was totally disassociated. She told me that even though she knows that how I was acting wasn't objectively scary, that her threshold for shutting down is really low. By the way, I'll tell you what's not really low. The episode count of the full episodes with stories like this one on your favorite podcast platform, Spotify, iHeart, Apple Podcasts. I don't care where you listen. I just care that you search up OK Storytime and you take a little gander at the 71 days worth of stories we have there to listen to.
Oh, yeah.
Do it.
Do it.
We have a little bit more story.
Mm-hmm.
I guess therapy is good.
Yeah.
Brought
a lot of things to light about her reaction. That's good.
I'm not liking how this has been approached as like I'm just starting to realize how unproductive this is. I think it needs to be more like oh no. I've been emotionally absent in my marriage.
Yeah.
And I've been not recognizing my negative behaviors.
Yeah. And
Instead of just being like,
her.
I could be so much more productive about this.
Right.
It's like,
I mean, I guess that's a part of it, but that's not the main issue here.
It feels like you're making your wife's feelings like just like a thing that's like outside of y'all or outside of you.
Yeah.
Or your responsibility, and being like, yeah, that's just, her feelings are like that. And then her feelings of shutting down are unproductive or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like,
oh, I realized that you don't respond well to this kind of behavior. You respond better to positive feedback.
Yeah.
That's what I'm learning here. It's like, yeah, I just.
But I'm glad. I think it's going down the right path. Yeah, let's go ahead and finish this story.
Yep.
Realizing how much I scared my wife broke my heart. There we go.
4 months later, it took you that. Whatever.
The descriptions of dissociation in the book were terrifying to me. My wife is the sweetest person, and I love her so much, and I never want her to experience what she experienced that day ever again. It changed my perspective completely. There we go.
Finally.
That's what I was looking for.
That's honestly happened in so many of the stories that we've been reading of like, I feel like you need to stop talking about this and start talking about this. And then the next paragraph is them talking about what we want them to.
Yes.
Thanks for listening to us, readers or writers.
Thank you. Ever since my realization, our relationship is better than ever. We laugh and tease each other playfully. We've worked on projects together. We've talked about chores and money. We've even had a couple of fights and resolved them quickly and lovingly. Our communication is better because we trust each other. My wife told me that she has never felt safer or more loved now. I won't say I'm glad the fight happened, but what I realized because of it has been a turning point in our marriage for the better. And that is the end of that story.
All right. My wife said she loved me less and less after we had an argument.
Dang, what was the argument about?
And this comes directly from the r/OKstorytime subreddit.
Oh, brother.
I am 32 male and my wife is 30 female. We have 4 kids, ages 6, 2, 1, and 1. My wife stays at home with children, but also works part-time as a home health nurse for about 10 hours a week. She calls this her break from the kids and her way of contributing to the household. I completely support this because I understand how difficult it is to be with them constantly. By the way, this comes from Rabid Pikachu, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/okstorytime subreddit. And OP says, it also allows me to spend mornings with the children a couple times a week since my work days are usually 10 to 12 hours Monday through Friday, and I often don't see them before bedtime. I work weekends sporadically so we can pay all the bills, and I've recently started taking 1 to 2 online classes per semester, hoping to go to med school once our twins start kindergarten in 4 years. My wife is incredibly hardworking. She keeps the house spotless, does laundry, washes dishes, changes sheets weekly, organizes everything, puts away toys, feeds the kids, manages naps and baths, and ensures our 6-year-old always has hot breakfast and a packed lunch. She's amazing at keeping everything together. My wife also struggles with PTSD, depression, and anxiety due to severe childhood trauma. Without going into detail, she suffered multiple kinds of mistreatment from her mother, father, and biological father. She currently sees a psych NP who prescribed medication that seems to help, plus a counselor whose appointments she has been skipping. We also attend couples counseling together. While her struggles have influenced our relationship in what often feels like a negative way, they have sent her in the complete opposite direction as a mother. Oh, wow. She is full of love, understanding, and concern for our children, determined never to let them experience what she went through. Oh, I see. Opposite from what her parents were like.
Yeah.
Okay. Last night, we attended a couples counseling session that went off the rails. Started well. She was feeling overwhelmed because I had to attend a 3-hour biology lab on Saturdays. I told her I completely understood and wanted to make sure that she got time to rest and recover. I asked one of my friends if his wife and my wife could go out Saturday nights so she could get a break and have adult time. He thought it was a great idea and said that he could come over with the girls so we could hang out and watch the kids together. I also suggested my wife take as much of Sunday as she wanted to work out, relax, or practice self-care. She appreciated this and even became teary-eyed, which made me teary-eyed too. The counselor then asked me what I wanted to talk about since I had mentioned something was on my mind. This is when I may have screwed up. I told her I was struggling with how to bring it up because when I raise concerns, I often feel shut down, unheard, and like it almost always ends in a fight. I explained that I didn't want to make her day harder than it already was, and I understood how much she does, but I would like to impose screen time limits on the kids because I didn't feel like 4 to 5 hours of daily screen time was healthy for them. I would agree with that.
I agree with that, but I don't know, parents, tell me in the comments, you kind of have to trick the kids, I think.
In what way?
Because it's like you can impose like the limits, but it's like then there's going to be this like fiendish resentment over it where it's like, well, how do I get past, how do I get beyond the limit? How do I break the rules? How do I get more time? Instead, you just need to like trick the kids into being like, this isn't even cool.
Yeah, like you
know what's really cool?
Yeah.
Dirt.
Right.
And sticks.
Yeah.
And playing pretend.
Yeah.
Because
that's
whatever.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, they are young. I mean, their oldest is 6 years old. So hopefully they're not at like the regular user point of like feeding over it in that way.
Well, when you get them when they're little, it's like we still don't know. We're literally all the trial run of what these screens and how much time we spend on them does to us.
Yeah.
No one knows yet.
Well, we can see that it's pretty bad though.
My kid's getting a Nokia brick.
There you go.
And he can play Snake.
There you go.
That's about it.
Nice. But she lost it. She began talking about how much she has to do every day and how everything would not get done without screens. I told her I was okay with things not being perfect and that if I needed to wake up earlier or stay up later to help, I would. She said I didn't understand what she goes through and that it seemed like I was trying to make her life harder, which is exactly his worry. The counselor interjected and told her that based on what I had said, it did sound like I understood and was simply seeking a conversation. She snapped at him and then turned back to me and demanded that I provide activities to replace screen time on the spot. I suggested sensory activities, but admitted that I would need to research better alternatives. I proposed that we could research together. She told me that if I was demanding changes, then I needed to do the research myself. I clarified that I wasn't demanding, but asking for her input and collaboration on what was best for our kids. She told me that I needed to take care of them all weekend without screens to prove how hard it was. The counselor asked what her motivation was and if she just wanted to make me feel pain and to make a point. She outright said yes, and that was exactly what she wanted because clearly I didn't understand.
Dang.
Yeah.
Do you really want iPad kids that bad?
Right.
He's not even saying no screens ever again. He's just like a limit.
Right.
Something, anything. We literally, we spent 5 minutes talking about it and we workshopped like 2 great ideas. Actually, well, no, it was really,
Well,
it was
just
your,
playing outside is a great idea.
Yeah, well, I guess, and then she can't watch them if they're outside, so I guess that makes
Sure, but I mean, maybe just playing itself. I mean, okay, card games, board games, sports.
Yeah.
Playing pretend, reenacting their favorite movie.
Back in my day, we had to use our imagination.
Yeah,
or we have toys that aren't screen time. Legos, that's a good one.
He's just looking for a conversation about how to do this, and she's like, fine, do it all yourself, fine.
Exactly.
And it's like,
yeah,
she's doing that in therapy. Imagine what it's like when they're not in therapy.
I know. Yeah, it's not a good way to treat a partnership. The conversation went back and forth with me growing more frustrated, but no resolution came. This morning, she texted me, I realized that instead of loving you more with time, I love you less. Still love you, but less. And I know it's been a coping mechanism for me. Of all the bottled up things, I don't know what to do with that. This marriage feels like a business. I briefly responded, asking if we could discuss it later because I couldn't handle that conversation over text while I'm at work. My work performance has been affected before during arguments, resulting in poor performance and even a write-up. I set a boundary asking her not to send me these things while I'm at work, but she has never respected this boundary and repeatedly violates it. For context, I'm a speech language pathologist. Throughout my undergrad and my master's program, I saw how detrimental excess screen time was for both neurotypical and neuroatypical kids. I've read and sent her studies on screen time's effects on children under 2 and 3, the long-term issues it can cause, how it increases ADHD incidence, and how children with excess screen time often struggle when they start school. She doesn't dispute any of the research. Our 6-year-old is my stepson. I met him when he was 3. At that time, I noticed he was on his iPad almost all day and often until 1 or 2 in the morning while she slept next to him. At age 3, he had maybe 20 words.
Yeah, no, that's insane. Letting your 2-year-old stay on an iPad until 2 in the morning?
Yeah.
That's bad parenting. You are being a bad parent.
He was later diagnosed with moderate to severe speech language delay after I expressed concern and had a friend test him. After receiving services, he caught up some, but he still struggles with speech and reading. Unfortunately, he no longer qualifies for services because he just barely misses the cutoff, both privately and through school. He has difficulty sustaining attention and often forgets instructions. We are fairly certain he has ADHD, but he must be 7 before he can be tested and diagnosed. At the time, my wife was a young single mom, and we can't know what we don't know. I don't blame her for these issues. If I'm being honest, though, I do think the excess screen time, which I measured at upwards of 10 hours a day, made things worse. I don't think screens caused the problems entirely, but they definitely exacerbated what he may have been predisposed to. So I have to ask, am I the a-hole for asking my wife to reduce the kids' screen time? And there is an edit, because I think we just know that the answer is no. Definitely not the a-hole. We're on your side.
You're not the a-hole for that.
Yeah, there is an edit. I wanted to clarify a few things since people kept asking. I work primarily with adults as an SLP. Most of my patients are psychiatric patients, dementia patients with behaviors, and adults with developmental disabilities. Being the only male SLP on my team, I usually get the more aggressive or tougher cases. I do this for 10 to 12 hours daily, often split between 2 facilities. On weekends, I commute to facilities 45 to 60 minutes away. It's mentally and emotionally exhausting. My typical day starts between 6 and 7 a.m. A couple of times a week, I get up at 7 and help with breakfast, school prep, and bath. 2 to 3 mornings a week, I wake up at 6 with the kids so my wife can sleep. I get the oldest to school, prepare hot breakfast, pack lunches, and handle everything. Every day my wife doesn't work. She also gets an hour-long workout while I'm with the littles. I leave for work around 9 or 10, depending on her workout. Most mornings, I spend 3 to 4 hours with the kids. Once I leave, I work until about 9 p.m., then do paperwork. When I get home, I try to help by folding laundry, picking up toys, or meal prepping. My wife is extremely against daycare. While I'm not as opposed, I fully support her decision since it's important to her. We do have a house cleaner come every 2 weeks to help with the load. Recently, my wife took a vacation to California and I stayed home with the kids for 4 days. I took paid time off for 2 days and managed them all weekend long. During that time, they had no screens and they were healthy, happy, and well fed. It was hard, but I managed, which only reinforced my belief that reducing screen time is possible.
Yeah.
To be clear, I am not advocating for zero screen time. I understand it can give her a break or help her get things done, but 4 to 5 hours daily feels excessive. I'm seeking compromise,
Yeah.
and there is an update, but that just seems so weird to me, her thought process.
It feels like it's something else. There's more stuff. I would look more into like that message she sent about it where it's like, this is starting to feel more like a business relationship.
Yeah.
And it's like, I feel like, I've read stuff where it's like you're in a long-term relationship, you have kids and all this stuff. Like, there's periods of disillusionment in a relationship where it's like things that, maybe you used to like about somebody. Now you're like, they just like upset you. But that's not like necessarily a permanent. It's more like there's a flux and a flow
Totally.
to those kind of things. And it's like not always going to be like the most perfect thing you've ever experienced in your whole life, always.
Right.
So I think fundamentally, if, she's approaching every single thing like it's a battle or a war between the two of you.
Right. Or not a partnership, which she seems to not be doing in therapy. Like,
Yeah.
that seems like that's contributing to a business feeling.
Yeah, dude, she's literally snapping at the therapist in therapy.
Yeah.
It's pretty wild.
But we do have an update, so hopefully they find a solution. I'm really rooting for them. So, update. My wife and I haven't really talked, but I tried to take as much advice as I could from the responses. The overwhelming opinion seems to be that I'm the a-hole, and I can accept that. Interesting. I appreciate all the feedback, especially responses that helped me gain more clarity into her trauma and the reasons behind her behavior and reactions. For the last 2 days, I've been waking up around 4 or 4:30 a.m. and just trying to clean the house. I've been working on tackling whatever I see needs to be done. Dishes, folding laundry, putting it away, running loads of laundry, animal care as we have 3 dogs and a cat, taking out trash, picking up toys, cleaning the playroom. Today was also my wife's long work day. Thursdays, I only work 8 to 9 hours and head in around noon, so I had plenty of time to spend with the boys and get housework done. I'm proud to say that everything was pretty spotless when I finished. I started watching YouTube videos on how my wife folds laundry. She makes these little parcels out of onesies, towels, pants, baby shirts, sheets, etc. For pajamas, the parcels hold pants and a shirt. And for the sheets, they hold fitted sheet, flat sheet, and pillowcases. I'll be honest, I couldn't figure out the sheets in the slightest, but I was able to figure out everything else.
There's nothing harder to fold than a freaking fitted sheet, dude.
Yeah,
I hate it. And my mom has showed me a dozen times how it works, and I still can't do it.
Before I left her with no laundry, no dishes, no animal chores, no need to take trash out, and I was able to bathe 1 out of the 3 kids who were home. And by the way, I hope that you are able to listen to full episodes with more stories just like this one on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, or whatever your favorite podcast app is. Just search OK Storytime. But there is a little bit more to the story. I'm going to try to make this consistent. Every day I will look around for things to do while I'm at home. It does take some time away from my kids, and there's a lot of stopping and starting because they don't have screens to occupy them when I'm home. But I felt good about managing to spend a couple hours with them playing and learning, and then letting them free play when I continued chores. A lot was already done because I woke up early. Currently, the Cold War is still ongoing. What? Oh, with the wife. Okay.
Oh my
I was like,
gosh.
how old was Reddit? Like, how old is this Reddit story? I tried to speak with her the night before last, but with both of us being tired, we got extremely irritated and the conversation quickly ended. I'm hoping actions will speak louder than words, and sometime soon we can have a conversation and find a healthy compromise involving the screen time issue. Regardless, I'll continue tackling any chores I see need doing at home. And that's the end of that story. That's all we get. What?
You've done what you can. You're doing what you can. Hopefully she'll come around. I think she can't be skipping her own counseling sessions if she has individual. I know that was back all the way at the beginning of that story,
Right.
but she can't be skipping out on her own
Yeah.
counseling session.
That's important. That's very important.
My husband's ex-wife kept their daughter away for years, and now she's changed her mind.
Bring her back.
So, let's go back to 2020.
That was a fun year.
No.
Uh,
My husband was deployed from November of 2019 to October of 2020. He, Ethan, and Vanessa had Lila in January of 2019. So Ethan wasn't able to get much bonding time with his daughter before deployment. Vanessa decided that she couldn't just be somebody's wife forever and wanted a divorce. They split in March of 2020. What a time to do that.
yeah.
By the way, this comes from user Reina0719, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/okstorytime subreddit, and OP says he sent her about $450 on the 1st and 15th of every month to cover food and other needs, and he would even send extra if needed. She also blew thousands on his military travel card that he had to pay back, about $4,000 to $5,000 in a short time frame, which got him in trouble with his chain of command. Ethan and I met at the very end of June 2020. Because he was still deployed and couldn't get the divorce finalized, Vanessa calls me his mistress to this day. I saw him every month during the deployment after we met. Vanessa never once brought the baby down to see her father, even after he offered to pay. She was a stay-at-home mom, but insisted on working even though she made less than daycare costs. During the deployment, she stopped answering questions about the baby, wouldn't answer calls, and constantly gave excuses about why she was busy. When they first separated, he asked her about a plan for parenting time and custody. Her response was, quote, "Custody will be with me. Your little plaything will never be around my kid, and neither will you, and you will pay me for your child or I will get you messed up," calling him an irresponsible man.
Ugh.
Okay?
Not a great situation.
He asked, "And that's not keeping my kid from me?" And she said, "I'm dang sure going to do it now, and if you were a real father, you'd know her shoe size." While he was deployed.
Her feet
Mind
grow. He's like, how much is how much of her feet grown? And she's like, you would know. You'd be tracking the incremental growth.
Yes, be tracking the growth, you swine. We later found out she was dating a married soldier and had him staying in Ethan's house on base. Holy projection. Great snakes,
Oh.
as the goat would say.
Oh.
When Ethan returned from deployment, she picked him up late and dropped him off at their trashed house. There were dirty dishes,
Ugh.
overflowing litter boxes, and rooms so cluttered you couldn't see the floor. Sounds like a great environment for a small child. She had moved in with that married soldier while his pregnant wife lived at Ethan's base house. Ethan messaged her within the time frame she set to let her know he would be picking up Lila at the MP station on base. His words were, quote, "I will be meeting you at the MP station to pick up Lila at 1800 Friday." She replied, "No, you won't, Ethan. We're not even in the state. Have a good day. And if you'd like to see Lila, you don't demand anything of me." She then blocked him, and he had no contact with his daughter from March 2021 to June 2021.
Because she blocked him?
Jail.
Why are you?
You can't just leave the state with his child.
Pretty sure that's like kidnapping.
Yeah, you can't just do that.
He needs to like get the legal systems involved here to get custody, or at least, some sort of custody of the kid.
After his mother helped arrange a meeting, Vanessa finally told him she was moving, but not where, only that it was out of state. We were in Kentucky and Tennessee at the time. He served her a motion to enforce parenting time and requested full custody if she continued to keep the child away. He had held off, hoping she would stop the nonsense and let him be a father. When his mother told him Vanessa was leaving the state, he moved forward with the plan, and Vanessa saw the words "full custody" and snapped. And I hope all of this is being recorded, by the way.
Yes.
She started yelling at him to get away from my daughter and that he was dangerous. She even called the police to say that he was pestering her. She stuttered, trying to say, "I fear for my safety," and completely dropped the act to say, "huh?" when the operator asked her something. Ethan ended up leaving to keep the peace, especially because he had the sheriff there to serve the paperwork. After that day, she kept the child from him. The court hearing was scheduled, but Vanessa had recently lost a family member and had come into some money. She hired one of the best lawyers. They filed a bunch of motions, and the court date didn't even address the initial filing. Multiple court dates later, we had the time wrong by about 30 minutes and arrived late. Everything Vanessa claimed ended up in black and white as if it were fact. She called Ethan a danger. She said she fled to northern Illinois 8 hours away because of fear, accused him of slashing her tires, and claimed the child is autistic, and the court doubted his ability to care for her. The order said no less than supervised visitation with a supervisor and place of the mother's choosing. Ethan became a RBT, a registered behavior technician, to combat the autism claim,
Wow.
which the mother denied every time it was brought up, saying the court made that assumption.
Okay, so now she's going back and saying, I never said that our child was autistic. And he's like, well, then I'm overqualified for this.
Yeah, I don't know. It's crazy that that's how that works.
Yeah.
And it's like they're 30 minutes late to that meeting. So instead of just hearing both sides, they're like, well, I guess everything that you say now is the truth.
It's just the truth now.
That's the dumbest thing I've
Yeah.
ever heard.
That's ridiculous.
Even now, there's no confirmation of a diagnosis or lack thereof. Her lawyer is now also saying the child may be on the spectrum. We couldn't afford a lawyer, and Ethan had just gotten out of the military. They wouldn't change his child support order from when he was in, even though his income is significantly lower. He petitioned the child support office countless times and never got a response. We set up a supervised visitation in Vanessa City for every other weekend after we moved north 2.5 hours away from Vanessa and Lila. That slowed down as Vanessa started making false accusations, and Ethan cut contact in fear of what she might do. She filed an emergency order of protection ex parte, saying he followed her at work and made inappropriate comments to his child, even though every conversation with the child was supervised. She tried to say he threatened her with while he was deployed, and she had the weapon in her possession.
I mean, you just need to document all of this. You have all of this information and proof that she's lying. So just keep
What she
showing
just
that.
said is that he
Yeah.
threatened me with a weapon while he was deployed.
Yeah. Well, I don't think she said, well, I think they're saying she's claiming that the time when he threatened her couldn't have happened because he was deployed.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I thought
so
she was being like, yeah, well, he was like thousands of miles
Yeah,
away. You threatened me.
I think they're saying like,
And I have the thing that you threatened me with.
yeah.
Anyway.
Weirdo.
Ethan has no record of violence or substance issues in the military or civilian life. Luckily, the judge denied it. The
Good.
supervisor at the visitation place told Ethan that his case was the only one they had without an order of protection, and that in Illinois, they can't enforce supervised visits without a risk of danger to the child or an order. It was odd, and we assumed they told Vanessa the same, so she thought she might lose control and made things up to file. Also, we had just told Lila she was going to be a big sister because I was pregnant.
No.
It's now August 2025.
Dang. So it's been 5 years of this. Jeez.
A nightmare.
Yeah.
We got a lawyer at the end of June after selling one of our vehicles and filed for a change in child support, parenting time without restrictions, and a couple of other small things. Ethan now gets 3 calls with Lila a week. We just had...
Calls?
Yeah, that's just so
brutal.
crazy how hard the ball is being dropped here.
Like, you have so much information that she's keeping his child from him illegally, and they're doing nothing.
We just had an in-person supervised visit for 3 hours with me, my husband, our son, Lila, the supervisor, and Ethan's family, who stopped by to see us. The supervisor said Vanessa claimed Lila would be scared and wouldn't recognize her dad. He asked Lila, do you know what your daddy looks like? And she said, yes. He said, okay. When you see him, point to him. She said, he's right there. He said, okay, run to him. And she ran straight to Ethan, gave him a big hug, and jumped into his arms in the middle of a crowded park.
Aw,
So then did
this is so sad.
the supervisor then just like turn to Vanessa and go,
Yeah.
you're a dirty, stinky little
You're
liar?
a liar.
Like,
This is also just like
ugh.
devastating that this little girl clearly has, a good relationship with her dad and is being kept from him. Just really awful.
Be careful with the people you have children with, folks.
Yes.
The visit went great. In the last 10 minutes, Ethan and Delilah were running around, and apparently Vanessa pulled up a few minutes early and parked. She told the supervisor she had watched them play and didn't want to continue supervised visits, and that she was so moved seeing them together. It was a complete 180 from every conversation we've had with her in the past 4 to 5 years. So what do y'all think? Did she finally grow up and change? No.
I don't believe that.
Yeah.
I think she just doesn't want the supervisor there so that she can get mad at you guys and have control back.
Exactly. She doesn't want someone there who can go, hey, is your daughter really scared of you? Because she looked the exact opposite of scared.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she's probably just like, maybe I
I
can
don't
get a
believe
new
that.
supervisor because this one knows I'm a liar now.
Yep.
Is it just for the child since she finally saw them interact for the first time since Lila was barely walking and saw that she was truly happy with her father? Or is she trying to set him up for more accusations in court? There's an edit. I think we all
I think
know.
the latter.
I feel like wants more accusations.
Mm-hmm.
There's an edit. Some background from when they separated during deployment. Vanessa said, I'm moving where I need to go. You do you. We have nothing to discuss. Goodbye. Ethan said, I need to know where my daughter will be.
Yeah.
We need to discuss custody. Vanessa replied, where she will be does not concern you. Custody will be to me. Goodbye.
You cannot just decide that unilaterally.
I'm like,
Unless he has posed some sort of threat, why would you ever keep the kid away from him? This is terrible.
around Thanksgiving 2020, we had a 3-way call and discussed me meeting Vanessa because I would be around the child. That lasted until about February or March when Ethan told her they weren't friends. They were co-parents. She got hurt and accused him of using her to get close to his child and stopped letting us see Lila even before she was served paperwork.
I'm sorry. She's upset that Ethan doesn't see her as his friend when she's actively tried to steal his child away from him at every turn.
And this was back in what? This was back in 2020 or 2021. And yeah, it's like you were the one who were like, I can't be just somebody's wife.
Yeah.
And then you divorced him.
You left him.
You left him. And then, by the way, got with a married woman's husband.
Yeah.
Trash.
You couldn't be someone's wife, but you could take someone's husband.
I can't be someone's wife. I could be their mistress.
Ooh.
We saw Lila once after that because Vanessa had gone back to her hometown to handle family matters and couldn't make it back to pick up Lila from Ethan's mom. We picked her up. Vanessa met us at the MP station the next day, and that was the last time Lila was in our home. Through all of this, Ethan kept asking about Lila and how she was doing. Vanessa always made it seem like he was calling her a bad mom, which she is. She would say, she's fine, wouldn't send pictures, and sometimes wouldn't respond at all, especially when she had him blocked. She had expectations of what it was supposed to look like with Ethan as a dad, though she didn't have her dad growing up, and neither did Ethan. He tried explaining he was a first-time dad, didn't know all the questions to ask, and they needed to work together. Other notes, Ethan is a disabled veteran, and we tried court-ordered mediation, but it was unsuccessful. In the first meeting, Vanessa demanded no less than supervised visits for at least a year and said she needed to see consistency.
You won't even consistently let him see his kid.
Yeah, you literally absconded the child.
That's the reason there isn't consistency, because you are stealing the kid from him.
Yeah. Side note, he did over a year of supervised visits at the center every other weekend before the accusations started. At the next meeting, she said at least a couple more months since they told her a full year wasn't realistic. Then 2 days after the in-person supervised visit, she flipped the script. Her boyfriend is the one present for the 3 calls a week. She hasn't been present for any except one. She works as a nurse in a big city hospital and attends evening classes, so she trusts a man she's known 5 to 6 years at most, more than the man she made the child with. We knew where she lived for months before telling her. She had been filing claims to Ethan's health insurance under her address, but with his name on the paperwork, which is a felony.
Yikes.
When we married in July 2021, I found those claims and we kept note of it since we couldn't afford a lawyer yet. We didn't tell her until around Christmas And she acted scared, but all we've done is send presents for Lila on holidays and birthdays. And by the way, it's always a holiday when you listen to full episodes with stories just like this. On Spotify, iHeartRadio, or Apple Podcasts, just search OK Storytime. And you can listen to the full archive of stories that we have told. Wow.
Oh, dang. I feel like she's doing all of this out of spite.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
quite honestly absurd.
Yeah.
Someone with just a nasty little
Nasty, terrible
rotten
person.
heart.
Mm-hmm.
So we theorize that she's so scared now because she knows what she's doing is wrong. She's accused him of doing the things she's done herself, like deceptive behavior and keeping the child away. We only found out about the June court date that started this recent movement because we were on the county website for something else. I looked at my husband and saw he had a court date the following Monday. We found it on Saturday. After that court date, she decided to hire the lawyer and get things in motion. Now we're hoping the court finally sees the pattern and allows Ethan meaningful parenting time without restrictions alongside a fair child support review. We're doing everything we can to make this right for Lila. And that is the end of that story.
There you
Yeah, I
go.
think that's what sickens me so much with those kind of stories is
Yeah.
that it's the parents just like fully not actually caring what's
No, that's the thing.
about their
Again,
kid.
she's doing it out of spite. She doesn't care about her daughter. At least, doesn't, I don't know, care about what's best for her. She just wants to win.
She probably just wants the check.
Yes.
The child support.
Yeah, she wants the
Cha-ching.
child support. She wants to be right. She wants to,
She's committing
shove it in
fraud with
his
the
face.
medical insurance.
Yeah.
She just wants to take advantage
Yeah.
of this guy as hard as possible.
yeah.
And it's
It doesn't matter
despicable.
it doesn't matter who's hurt in the process to her.
Yeah, including her own kid.
But that's the end of that story.
That is.